Welcome back into the Fox Carolina tailgate. We're spending an hour looking at this rivalry of Clemson and Carolina. And, you know, I think it's so interesting in talking to different players over the years about their time at Clemson or Carolina, how they ended up at each one. You're from the area. Was there any look at Clemson for you?
Yeah, I mean, I was very highly recruited by Clemson. Just saw those the bumper right there with Danny Ford. Recruited me heavily. I was the #1 player in the state of South Carolina coming out. Shrine Bowl MVP. Of course, Miles Aldridge, Tommy West, those guys that coached at Clemson was in my hometown, Page, South Carolina. You got to understand, I grew up somewhat of the hood, and so when we saw a white guy show up with some kind of nice clothes on, he was either police or insurance man. But it happened to be a lot of Clemson Tigers coming into my hood. But yeah, I mean, I had to make a decision. You know, in this state, it was about South Carolina and Clemson. You choose one or the other. So for me, it was South Carolina. My coach played at South Carolina, Joe Morrison, Black Magic. You know, if it ain't swaying, we ain't playing.
I've heard that.
It just was amazing. So I made the right choice, as you can see.
Obviously. What about for you, coming from Florida?
Well, I'll tell you what.
And they've each had their times.
Right. South Carolina did not recruit me, probably because they figured I wouldn't go to South Carolina. But I'm not going to say that. But anyway, I chose Clemson really for a couple of reasons. I was a quarterback coming out of high school. I was top 5 in the country as a quarterback. And Clemson had a history of playing black quarterbacks during that time.
Okay.
And that was one of the reasons I really chose Clemson. And then, of course, you know, Brian Dawkins, him being able to come to Clemson with me was really that deciding factor for me to end up going to Tiger Town and being a Clemson Tiger.
And I think that's really cool. You shared this story with me, and we had the opportunity to catch up with Brian Dawkins, but you ended up bringing one of the most decorated now Clemson alums to Clemson. We want you to hear it from Brian himself. We had the chance to catch up with him last week when he was in Clemson about how he ended up being a Tiger, because he was almost a Gamecock.
I took a visit to South Carolina, and that was one of the only teams that was recruiting me at the time. And so one day I was trying to call to tell them that I was going to accept the scholarship, but I couldn't get in contact with anyone. So I know now, because of some of the things that I know as far as recruiting is concerned, when people stop talking to you, that means you're off the radar. I didn't know that then. And so that night I called Pat up, Sap up, and I was like, you know, I'm trying to call South Carolina to let them know that I'm going to come there, and I can't get in touch with nobody. And so Sap was like, let's not go there. Why would you go there? Like, let me make a phone call. So basically what Pat did is he called Clemson and told them that if I come to Clemson, then I want Doc to come with me. That's how I got to Clemson. People don't really know that. But the ultimate is, if South Carolina would have picked up the phone, I would have been a Gamecock. But to know that the rivalry between South Carolina and Clemson, I didn't know anything about it until I got here. But then when I got here, I recognized the sometimes even venom there is in the hatred between the two. And so I engulfed myself in Clemson. So there is a huge part of me that is not a huge fan of South Carolina Gamecocks, let's just say it like that. But to beat this team is extremely important for the state, like winning the state of South Carolina. So again, that's that passion I'm talking about. That's that drive that I'm talking about. And that's that consistency of this is who we are, right? Of how we do things and we handle our business against this team, period.
Brian Dawkins ghosted by the Gamecocks.
Gamecocks are always losing. That's all I'm saying.
But like, how spectacular! Like, well, first of all, what a crazy time! What a crazy time, and what he ended up becoming. And you know, he mentioned that, you know, maybe who knows what I would have become if it weren't for my time at Clemson. He's like, I don't know if I would have been challenged in the same way. I don't know if I would have had the same push that I had at Clemson to go on and end up having an NFL Hall of Fame career. Like,
yeah, you know, it was, you know, he was a really good player. We played together since Pop Warner football, and we was teammates all the way through Clemson. But I did not understand why a lot of schools did not recruit them.
So it wasn't just South Carolina then?
Yeah, it wasn't just South Carolina.
So that means a lot of schools saw the same thing.
but I'm saying he was an awesome player. But I saw this guy work. We was roommates. You know, he was probably 175 pounds coming out of high school.
Yeah.
And will wake up at 3 a.m., eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches,
Trying
to get some weight.
I love
But
football
what an
stories.
awesome guy, man. Awesome guy, awesome teammate, awesome man, and doing a lot of great things in life. But more importantly,
great dude.
He's a Tiger at the end of the day.
And I know quickly you maybe had a hand or two in some recruiting yourself as well.
Yeah, you know, LeVon Kirkland, another decorated player in Clemson's history, of course, played linebacker from Lamar, South Carolina. He and I played against each other a lot, football and basketball. I'll never forget Danny Ford, Joe Morrison at the game. Of course, I beat them down pretty much by myself. But because, listen, it was me, Ed McDaniel, another Clemson decorated.
Everybody played with you?
Yeah, we're all two-way linebackers from the state of South Carolina.
Yeah.
I was the number one out of all of those guys. I chose South Carolina. LeVon was out the picture. And then when I said no to Clemson, they ended up signing LeVon. Miles Aldridge signed LeVon Kirkland. So I said this at a meeting I was speaking at with LeVon there, and I said, you know what, Clemson fans, I know you don't like me because I beat y'all up all the time, but you better learn to thank me because I sent you a decorated